The flow of intriguing news continues about the much-anticipated remake of Harry Potter, as many hope. We are, of course, discussing the series from Warner Bros. Discovery, which has been increasingly talked about lately. This is not surprising, as the main team for the upcoming project has been assembled, or at least partially completed, and we've also learned about the casting of young actors for the main role, as well as the list of adult actors that, according to rumors, has already been approved by the bosses at Discovery. However, what we didn't know, and still don't know to this day, is what exactly the upcoming project will entail. Here, I have some alarming news. One of the screenwriters of the Harry Potter reboot, it turns out, hasn't even finished reading the books by J.K. Rowling, which is simply incomprehensible. He also expressed doubts about the advisability of adhering closely to the original source material. As it stands, the future project is expected to have many differences from the legendary film series, and looking ahead, I can say that not everyone will like it. So, what's going on around one of the most anticipated television series of our time? What should we expect from it? Let's start with the most important issue. The question of fidelity to the original source material is, of course, a painful one when it comes to adapting literary works. You don't have to look far for examples, incredibly notable ones, in fact. For instance, consider the film adaptation of Andrei Sapkowski's works and what the creators of The Rings of Power did, deciding that ignoring audience feedback and straying from the original source is acceptable. They seem to prefer crafting something entirely their own. In this context, the upcoming Harry Potter series raises many questions. On the other hand, many fans found reassurance in the fact that the author of the books, J.K. Rowling, is personally involved in its creation. She is selecting the showrunner and, it seems, some of the screenwriters. While she may not write the scripts herself, she will at least supervise the entire process. Nevertheless, this development caught fans off guard. The latest news, and by that, I mean a statement from one of the series' future creators, has caused quite a stir. According to reports, the recently announced screenwriter of the Harry Potter series, Andy Greenwald, does not approve of a strict adaptation of the books and even admits that he hasn't finished reading them at all. Yes, it sounds absurd. Let's delve into the details. One of the recently announced screenwriters for the upcoming Harry Potter series, Andy Greenwald, stated that he dislikes the idea of a strict adaptation of J.K. Rowling's works. Although he acknowledged that such an idea could likely succeed, the screenwriter admitted, "I haven't even finished reading all the books." These are the people creating the series about Harry Potter, and this is not a hoax. Mr. Greenwald was listed as one of the screenwriters of the series on the Writers Guild of America website. Regarding his so-called work history, among his previous projects, he served as a showrunner for The Thorn Birds, which was cancelled after its first season, and he also worked on the series Legion for the FX channel. You must agree that this isn't the most impressive track record, especially for making such statements in such a significant project. Nevertheless, in a podcast, when asked whether it was possible to adapt Rowling's Harry Potter novels for television directly, he initially appeared to answer yes, stating that people adore the stories. This magical universe and the idea of an incredibly careful adaptation of the text have every chance of success. However, Mr. Greenwald then decided to elaborate on his opinion on the issue. I quote, "If someone champions their absolute, fatal foundation of loyalty, I think that the pleasures derived from this will probably not be for me. I haven't even read all the books. I read them to my eldest daughter before she could read them herself, and then she refused my services. I think that perhaps there are other creative possibilities in this world, but J.K. Rowling controls it all and will not allow anyone else to play with her toys, and that is her right, and obviously, it is very beneficial for her. That's what we get," said the screenwriter. He then added that he doesn't see the point in getting too close to the original source, questioning why one should even make a series in his opinion. This reminded me of how the showrunner of the completely disastrous series Acolyte from Disney, Leslie Headland, once invited a screenwriter to the team who hadn't seen Star Wars and didn't even understand closely what their series would be about. All this was done supposedly so there would be someone from the outside, someone who would not be blinded by the lore, and so forth. What happened in the end from such brilliant ideas, as we all know, was very disappointing. Now, following Disney and its approach, it seems WB is about to repeat the same mistakes with their film adaptation of Harry Potter. It's sad, of course, if that happens. After all, as the English-language press is now reporting, comments from Greenwald are just another red flag for this series. Perhaps the biggest concern was the recent casting for the roles of the three main characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. One article states that, in the casting announcement published on the official Harry Potter website, it was noted that the production team is committed to inclusive and diverse casting for each role, seeking qualified performers regardless of ethnicity, gender, disability, race, orientation, gender identity, or any other basis protected by law, unless otherwise specified. In other words, even a much more tolerant Western society has expressed the sentiment that, frankly speaking, this is somewhat nonsensical. Really, can't they select main characters that fit the traditional narrative? It seems there might be a black Hermione, an Asian Harry Potter, and a white, or rather red-headed, Ron. An English-language publication reports with chagrin that, despite the absurdity in modern Hollywood, such casting is not surprising since almost all major Hollywood production companies have publicly announced quotas regarding their hiring practices, whether for actors, writers, or crew members. Now, we also have remarks from the screenwriter of the future Harry Potter series. Despite the heads of Warner Brothers and the streamer Max promising that the series would correspond to the original story from each of J.K. Rowling's books, the announcement claims that Harry Potter will become a decade-long series created with the same epic craftsmanship, love, and care this global franchise is known for. The series will feature a new cast that will lead a new generation of fans, full of fantastical details of beloved characters and dramatic settings that Harry Potter fans have adored for over 25 years. The statement emphasizes that each season will remain true to the original books and introduce Harry Potter and his incredible adventures to a new audience around the world, while the original classic films will remain at the heart of the franchise and will be available for viewing globally. Moreover, such a statement seems to make it clear that the films are intended for old fans, while the series will cater to new viewers. It's as if everything will be relevant, modern, and in the spirit of the times. We'll see, of course. In confirmation of this publication, rumors suggest that the TV show about the Harry Potter series will differ from the films in various ways. Fans can expect to see more backstory for Lily and James Potter, which was left out since they died before the events of the films. The books provided deeper insight into their lives, and this should be reflected in the series. The article also claims we are promised an expansion of the wizarding world, taking it beyond the confines of Hogwarts. For example, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire showed that there are other schools, and now there may be a more detailed introduction to these institutions. Additionally, we can expect a much more developed arc for Harry himself, along with many other differences. However, nobody seems to recognize that, moving forward, we must not forget about the original source material. Filming something akin to The Witcher should serve as a cautionary example of how to ruin an incredible original story. This isn't something that many can manage, yet despite the scandalous statements from the screenwriter and the general misunderstandings regarding the casting, we can confirm that work on the Harry Potter series has begun. Recently, Casey Bloys, the chairman and CEO of HBO and Max Content, told Deadline that writing has already started, director Mark Mylod is on board, and the team is hiring managers and casting departments. This indicates that the wheels are turning quickly to get the series into production as soon as possible. The only question now is whether critical mistakes will be made during this process, after which everything else might become irrelevant. That question remains open. By the way, the release dates for the first season are already starting to shift. Earlier, 2026 was mentioned, but now it's being suggested that it will likely be 2027. There is still ample time to think things through and do it right. However, on the other hand, Amazon prepared the first season of The Rings of Power over 5 years, and we all know how that turned out. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye. Don't forget to ...